I'm not going to talk about somebody so drugged out of their mind they couldn't walk most of the time, who had all sorts of people's kids in a bed with him giving them wine. I'm sorry, I'm not going to talk about how great he is or how good a dancer he is or how sad it is that he's dead. Because the mainstream media wants to cram this down our throats, that circus for 4 hours as the press conference built up and helicopters picking him up like he was Jesus rising, back into heaven. I mean, this is ridiculous. And I am just tired of being assaulted and assailed with images of Michael Jackson. I can't stand Michael Jackson. I remember when he was really big in the early 1980s when I was like 8, 9, 10 years old. I'm 35 now. And the neighborhood kids were running around dressed like Michael Jackson with glitter gloves on. And I wasn't some little kid who was hip or cool or into the cool clothes. I just was cool. And I was like, that guy is a twit. That guy's embarrassing. Your sequin glove looks stupid. I've never liked Michael Jackson. And I'd see these full-grown women at office parties my parents would take me to when I was like 10, going, don't you just love Michael Jackson? Don't you just love? And I'd go, no, and they'd get all angry. I mean, what is it with you freaks? It's like some kind of weirdo Michael Jackson cult. I don't like your cult, and I don't like seeing Bat Boy on the news every day. All right, that's it. Ladies and gentlemen, here's the issue. The country is going to hell in a handbasket. I've done these sources on air. You can Google it. Real inflation over 20%. The different brokerage firms and banks that gauge it, they've got it at 20.4, 20.8, 20.9. In fact, Google that. I want to give them an actual headline. I forgot to bring it. Just Google for everybody and print it for me during the break, and I'll cover it next segment just so people can see I don't just throw this out. Real inflation above 20%. That'll give you hundreds of headlines, but just print me 2 big mainstream headlines on that for them. I'll give that to them later. So the issue here is you got the cooked government with the cooked numbers telling you that it's 10%. No, ladies and gentlemen, it's over 20, and every top economist I have on. Former head of the Treasury Department, head of policy, former Wall Street Journal editor, Dr. Paul Craig Roberts, and all these other people, Joseph Stiglitz, Nobel Prize winner, chief economist, World Bank, they all say the same thing. It's at least 20%, and they're talking about 30% in another year. They're talking about 25% by early 2010. Can't believe I just said that. I can't believe it. 2009 is already halfway over. The point here is this economy is in free fall. The federal government is openly abolishing the entire Bill of Rights and Constitution in front of everybody's eyes. The left that was so upset about Bush and warrantless secret detention and warrantless wiretapping and lying about WMDs and wars and everything else he was doing in the Patriot Act suddenly love it when Obama's doing it. And after I take some calls, I'm going to go over the real news, the crisis, the takeover. This is it. Total, complete blanket amnesty. Total, complete carbon taxes passed. Now they're going to try to pass total amnesty, the health care takeover, the gun grab takeover, the police state takeover, the takeover of the entire United States, every square inch of land being federalized under this Clean Water Restoration Act. I'm not kidding. I'm not exaggerating. Last week we had the local news people in here reporting on it, and the state officials are running around saying it's a total federal takeover. Read the bill. We told you this whole global warming hype was about a tax, and they said, no, it's not, no, it's not, and then wouldn't let anybody read the bill until 30 minutes before when the minority leader, Bonner, demanded to see the bill, and then he did an illegal filibuster. Because in the House, only leaders can do a filibuster. And Waxman tried to say it was unauthorized, but they said, no, actually it is authorized, so it's not illegal, but they implied it was. The Senate, anybody can filibuster. And God knows we need one, ladies and gentlemen. And then he starts reading through the bill. It was worse than even we thought. Now I've had a chance to look at it. All 1,300 pages. It was over 1,500, then they pulled some out, added some in. That's right. The Congress wasn't allowed to read it till 30 minutes before, and then one copy, because the minority leader demanded it, was given to him. He's handed it on the floor, and he goes, okay, They go, you have 2 minutes. And he goes, no, I've got to read this. We've got the video, the whole hour where he filibustered on Infowars.com. Go watch it, where he's reading the stinking thing. I should just air that here today so Americans can hear him reading from it. Home inspectors, everything selectively enforced. Ladies and gentlemen, it is so off the charts. They're saying 2,500 to 2,800 more per person in the country. It's way more than that because it allows these unelected boards to do whatever they want, including taxing human respiration. Did you know you put off 2.5 pounds on average of carbon dioxide a day? It's what plants breathe. It's the life cycle. They're taxing the life cycle. It is the sickest, most diabolical tax ever thought of. So I'm going to go over the entire takeover next hour in detail. Right now, let's go to your phone calls. Barbara in Alabama, you're on the air.
Hello?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, well, this is Scott in Washington State.
Okay, well, they got me the phone lines wrong, but just go ahead, Scott.
Okay, yeah, I wanted to share with you a little bit of my experience when I tried to call those numbers that you guys gave out, telling them to say no on that 2454.
Yeah, for those that don't know, then they changed the bill number again last minute. That was the total, complete, gigantic, 1,000-plus page secret bill that no one could read until 30 minutes before, and one copy was given to the opposition. And it is worse than we even said. Total dictatorship. The Soviet Union wasn't this harsh over everything we do. And yes, tell folks what happened. I've been getting calls. Most people got laughed at when they called the Congress. But go ahead.
Well, first of all, I called the switchboard in Washington, and it asked you for your area code to type in, who your representative is. I knew what it was, but I typed it in anyway.
You should be able to talk to whoever you want, by the way, but now they're trying to shunt people off, yeah.
Yeah, and then it patches you through to a number, and then I got this, the number that you just called has been disconnected, so it gave me, it didn't route me back, but it gave me my local number to the local office.
Yeah, let me be clear, exactly. What they do now is they just constantly, because a number would be working for 5 minutes and it wouldn't be. They admit they have hundreds of numbers and they just keep flipping them back and forth. But I've talked to people I know who called who just got laughed at and hung up on. Go ahead.
So anyway, then I called the local number and I got a hold of one of the staffers anyway. First, the guy tries to tell me, because I told him about the hundreds of pages that were slipped in and the fact that this was not made available to the public. Well, first the guy tries to tell me, that those reports were over-exaggerated.
Yeah, stop. That's what I was about to say. They always lie. In fact, I'm surprised he just didn't say that wasn't true. It doesn't matter if they have the Speaker of the House on the podium saying, we're not going to give it to you.
Yeah. And
they are lying, degenerate scum. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
And then he tried to tell me it was only 300 pages. Well, he was off by about 1,000 pages at least.
It's only 300, and we only slipped in 300, and nobody can read it. And I'm surprised they didn't laugh at you and say, "Sir, there's no Congress. You're mentally ill."
And then he tried to tell me, well, they had been debating on it for weeks, and I told him, I said, well, according to the sources I got, that's not what I heard, and how come it hasn't been made available to the public if this is such a wonderful bill? Which wasn't my main objection.
Well, what did he say? More lies?
Like that. Well, no, he said, well, I'll take that in note, and give me your name, and, and the rep will send out some kind of a letter or something to that. But, I told him, I said, well, my big problem with this is that this is such a wonderful bill, then how come there's been no discussion on it? Yeah, another one of Obama's lies, that open transparency in government.
Well, look at what Bush did. Look at how Bush rushed the Patriot Act through while the Capitol was under anthrax attack to where nobody could even read it. All these really bad bills are passed when they don't let people read the bill. So how did the conversation end? Quickly.
Oh, well, basically, what I just said, that he said that, they'd take my name and number and that, the congressman was going to send out some kind of a...
yeah, so basically he pushed you off. Look, the Congress is criminal. They know they're criminal. We'll break it down when we get back. More calls. Stay with me.